true only when I'm filled? Are you king only when I'm carefree? And God only when I'm well?
Oh, you are good when I'm poor and needy. You are true when I'm parched and dry. You still reign in my deepest valley. You're still God in the darkest night. Oh, let your will be done in me. In your love I will abide. Oh, I long for nothing else as long as you are glorified. So quiet my restless heart. Quiet my restless heart. Quiet my restless heart in you. Oh, let your will be done in me. In your love I will abide. Oh, I long for nothing else as long as you are glorified. Lord, in my life be glorified.
I'm amazed every day when I sit down and open up the Bible. Sometimes I sigh, sometimes I cry, sometimes I feel my spirit have revival. It satisfies my soul. It's hope.
Begin our class with. Our theme is to the 255. Let's just sing this a little bit. Praise Him, praise Him. Melody affections, grace. So 255. I'm glad you're here. And let's
Well, thank you so much, Pastor. I'm here. Hear me. Good to see you. Glad you came today. Here it is, the Sunday after Easter. And here you are. How about that? How about that? That's great. That's great. I want you to open your Bible, if you have your book with you, to 1 Kings.
Let me say something, Brother John. You've got your booklet with you. There's a place in there to take notes starting right now in Sunday school, all right? So the conference booklet we gave out, so just look that up and take some notes this morning.
Anybody doesn't have one that needs one? One right here. Anyone else want one? Okay. They're working on it. There you go. There you go. Dr. John R. Rice said, and I'm sure it was not unique to him, but many managers have said, a job is not completed until it's reported on. In other words, you don't just do your assigned task, but you report that it's done and how it was done. And it's not complete until it's reported on. Sometimes we don't finish. I'm going to read 10 verses. Magnificent, magnificent event. If you know your Bible, you know whenever we come to 1 Kings 13, there has just now been the division of the kingdom. We think generally that there were 3 kings that ruled over the United Kingdom. First of all was Saul, and then David, and then Solomon. But for a period of time, Rehoboam ruled over the United Kingdom. And it fell apart under his leadership as a result of the situation with his dad. Somebody said, and I think rightfully so, Rehoboam was a fool. He followed the advice of young people who didn't know any more than he knew, and he ignored the advice of those who had walked the way before him. Now, us old folks, sometimes we tend to try to hang on too long. But we still, whenever we don't hang on, still have some value. Sometimes we, at my age, we get to where, we feel that we don't have any value anymore. And we see the new guys coming along, and I'm for that, and I like that. And I've told the Lord and I've told others, whenever I look and see some of the guys that are younger than I, even like your pastor, though he's not that much younger than I feel that I can die and go to heaven, and it's in good hands. But Rehoboam ignored the advice and the wisdom of the aged. And for that, he split the kingdom. He split the kingdom. He acted in a foolish way. But somebody also said it was understandable that he was a fool because he had a fool for a dad. Now we think about Solomon, the wisest man that ever lived, but he was foolish in many ways. He prayed God would make him wise. He should have prayed God would make him good. Because though he was a wise man, he was not a good man. He acted in foolish ways and did foolish things. And the book of Ecclesiastes deals with that. And after living his life in a foolish manner, chasing after everything, every pleasure, every intrigue, everything his heart desired, after doing that, he said, vanity. It's all vanity. Well, his dad had said that. I mean, his text, the text verse for the preacher in Ecclesiastes, was a verse from his daddy. His daddy said, vanity. It's all vanity. It's all vanity. But he didn't learn it. He didn't learn it. And then in the last chapter of Ecclesiastes, he appeals to the younger ones. And he says, don't do what I did. Don't do what I did. Learn from my error. Learn from my foolishness. Learn from my mistakes. But Rehoboam didn't. He didn't learn from it. So the kingdom is divided. And behold, there came a man of God. We'll find he was a young man, but he was a man of God out of Judah. Now, it doesn't say Israel. It's not the United Kingdom. He has gone to Israel, the northern kingdom. He has gone out of Judah. Don't know exactly where he was from in Judah, but it was probably the northern part near Jerusalem. And Jerusalem to Bethel is 8 to 10 miles. It's not far. By the word of the Lord, man of God, out of Judah, by the word of the Lord, to Bethel, the house of God. And Jeroboam stood by the altar. Now this is an interesting altar. This is an altar to an idol god. He does not want the people of Israel going back to Jerusalem to worship. Because, he said, if they go back to Jerusalem to worship, their heart will be turned back to the house of David. And they will want to reunite with the southern kingdom and become one nation again. And then I will not have a throne. So in order to preserve my authority and preserve my position, what I will do is I will establish places of worship. Now he says, I'm going to establish a place of worship in the south, near the border, and tell the people there's no need to go down to Jerusalem. You can worship here. This is a good place to worship. Don't make that long trip. You can stop right here. And in the north, we'll have a place of worship up there also, at Dan. Now, Dan was one thing. Dan had a tendency toward idolatry anyhow. But whenever he set up the idol, and he did not say this is an idol that represents Baal, or this is an idol that represents the moon or the stars or the heavenly bodies. He says, this is your God. This is the representation on earth of Jehovah. This is Jehovah. We're going to have an altar. We're going to have a priesthood. We're going to worship Jehovah, but we're going to worship at this altar with this image that represents Jehovah. It's the same thing Aaron did whenever Moses was on the mountain, and he said, we'll build this calf, and this is the God that brought you out of Egypt. This is Jehovah God. We always want a physical representation of God. We're built to where we want physical things. We want things we can see, feel, hear, touch. We want that. We're very physical beings. It's hard for us to live spiritual lives because we're so oriented to the physical. So the man of God came out of Judah by the word of the Lord. That means at the command of God, at the leadership of Jehovah God. He came to Bethel, and Jeroboam stood by the altar to burn incense. Now, he was doing what should never have been done. The king was not the priest, but here he is the king, and he's acting like a priest. Now, he cried against the altar. This is this young man. This is this man of God out of Judah, unnamed, and yet a whole chapter A whole chapter is given to him. And is given to this event, and we don't know his name. Never named. He cried against the altar in the word of the Lord. This is, he preached what God gave him to preach. Look what he said. "O altar, altar." He addresses the altar as a being. "Thus saith the Lord whom you represent." Now I want you to get the picture here. Bethel. Bethel is the house of God. And he has brought this idol representing God into the house of God. That's serious business. Altar. Altar. He cries to the altar. He doesn't even address Jeroboam at this point. He doesn't address Jeroboam. He addresses the altar. "Thus saith the Lord, behold, a child shall be born unto the house of David." Understand, this is the northern kingdom. He's prophesying that in the house of David, in Jerusalem, the southern kingdom, Judah, unto the house of David, Josiah, by name. He names the kid that's going to be born, that's going to sit on the throne. And here's what he's going to do. "Upon thee," this altar, "shall he offer the priests of the high places that burn incense upon thee, and men's bones shall be burnt upon thee." And he gave a sign the same day, saying, "This is the sign which the Lord hath spoken. Behold, the altar shall be rent, shall be torn. The ashes that are upon it shall be poured out." That's a pretty strong sermon. Not a long sermon, but a strong sermon. Strong sermon of condemnation. "It came to pass," verse 4, "when King Jeroboam heard the saying of the man of God, that he cried against the altar in Bethel, that he put forth his hand from the altar." Now he's standing by the altar. This young man of God, out of Judah, comes, preaches this. A young man's going to be born. There's going to be a child born. His name's going to be Josiah. We know him. We know him. This is years before Josiah is born. But he prophesies the child by name. And the king says, "Lay hold on him." I don't know what kind of a voice Jeroboam had, but I'd like to have heard it. I think he was pretty angry. I think he was a little upset. Here's this guy's come out of Judah, and he's raining on his parade, man. I mean, it's a hard scene right here. Lay hold on him. And his hand, look, his hand which he put forth against him dried up. Now, I don't know exactly what that means, but somehow it shriveled up and locked up, and he couldn't move it. He couldn't draw it back to himself. He couldn't pull it in again to him. Verse 5. "The altar also was rent, and the ashes poured out from the altar, according to the sign which the man of God had given by the word of the Lord." If you're going to say something like that, you better say it by the word of the Lord. Don't be picking fights God didn't intend you to pick. You know, you fight God's battles, don't fight your own battles, okay? "The king answered and said to the man of God, Entreat now the face of the Lord thy God, and pray for me." It's interesting that he said, "thy God." He didn't say our God. He didn't say my God. He said, pray to the Lord, your God. Your God. I want you to entreat him on my behalf, that the hand may be restored me again. And the man of God besought the Lord, and the king's hand was restored him again, and became as it was before. Now, I don't know how you are, but I know me. If I'm the man of God, and I cry against this altar, and I prophesy about what's going to happen to it, about the very priests that are there to lead worship. Worship, they're leading worship. They're worship leaders there, okay? They're there. Their bones are going to be burned on that altar. And the king says, lay a hold on him. And he says, pray for me. Now what I'm going to say is pray for yourself, man. You're getting what you deserve. You want to lay hold on me? How's that working out for you? But he didn't. He prayed for him. He prayed for him and his hand was restored. I don't know whether you see it or not, but there's a lot going on right here that's happening just like that. Just in a moment. He steps up. He makes this little statement against the altar. The king says, get him. His hand dries up. Pray for me. He prays for him. His hand's restored. And I mean, all this is in what? A minute, 2 minutes. All of this has taken place. And the people are there and they're watching because this is a big event in the northern kingdom. This is the establishment of the kingdom. This is establishment of worship for the kingdom. God's kingdom. Divided. The northern section now. And there they are. The king, verse 7, said to the man of God, come home with me. Come to my place and refresh thyself, and I will give thee a reward. The man of God said unto the king, if thou wilt give me half thine house, I'll not go with thee. Neither will I eat bread nor drink water in this place. For so was it charged me by the word of the Lord, saying, eat no bread, nor drink water, nor turn again by the same way that thou camest. So he went another way, and he returned not by the way that he came to Bethel. 10 verses. Quick read. Great, great event in the life of the man of God from Judah, in the newly established kingdom, in the establishment of the worship by Jeroboam, and Jeroboam, the king of Israel, first king of the northern division of the kingdom. I wish it ended there. If I were to give this chapter a title, I think I would call it The Thrill of Victory and the Agony of Defeat. Many years ago in the Winter Olympics, they were advertising the Olympics on TV. And I was always fascinated as I saw this ad because, you know, the long jump, the jump they have where they come down the steep thing and you go off the end of it, and man, they bend over to their, it looks like their head's going to touch the tips of the skis, and it's like they form an airplane wing. And it's just, they just sail. They just sail and sail. And who can do that? And it showed this guy coming down through there. And one guy goes off and he just sails. That's the thrill of victory. And another guy comes down through there, and right at the end of the ramp, he goes off to the side. And they never showed what happened to him, but it had to be awful. It had to be awful. And they called it the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. And right here, the man of God out of Judah. That's the only way he's referred to. The man of God out of Judah. The wheels run off right here. He doesn't get back home. Now, he has been to the altar. He has delivered the message. He has seen God vindicate his message. Whenever Jeroboam spoke against him, his hand shrivels up. The altar breaks, and the ashes of the sacrifices they've been offering to the idol pour out, just like the sign the man of God said would happen. He prays for the king. King's healed. King says, come home with me. He said, no, my job's not done. My job's not done. My job's not done till I get back. God told me, the same God that sent me here, the same God that told me what to preach against the altar, the same God that gave me the attitude that I prayed for you. I won't go back with you. If you were to give me half your house, I won't go back with you, because God said, don't stay there. Now you go visit and you preach, but don't you stay there. Verse 11. There dwelt an old prophet in Bethel. Just weeks ago, a couple of months now, I stood once again at Bethel. At Bethel. And to think of the things that took place there. Formerly known as Luz. It's in the West Bank. It's right near Ramallah. And Ramallah is between Jerusalem and Bethel. And right there where Yasser Arafat's headquarters was in Ramallah. And the headquarters of PLO is still there. And then we were there at Bethel in a Jewish settlement that's right there beside the headquarters of the PLO. And we stood there at Bethel and we talked about the things. We talked about Jacob, and the ladder, changing the name from Luz. Surely God was in this place and I didn't know it, and it was Bethel. And talk about him going back there. We talk about the wonderful things that took place at Bethel. And here at this place also was brought this. And there's even a place, though it's not developed and nobody visits there, hardly any at all. Fact is, the bus has to go down a dirt road to get there. And you wonder if we're going to make it. But they get there and you get out and you go in. And there's some development to that they have done. But the place is pointed out where they, of course, where they believe that Jacob slept on a rock, you know, and I don't know whether it was that rock or not. There's a lot of rocks around there. But that's a long time ago, the trees are still there. Of course, there's no trees from that time that he was there. But there are some indications in the formations of what would have maybe been a place of worship. And if it was a place of idol worship. Although this is the place that Abraham built an altar. And God said, this is the place. This is the place I've given to you. Now there dwells there an old prophet. And though he did not go to the dedication of this altar, his kids went. He had 2 sons. Dwelt an old prophet, and his sons came and told him, verse 11, all the works that the man of God had done that day in Bethel, the words which he had spoken to the king. And them they told also to their father. And their father said unto them, what way went he? Which way did he go? Which way did he go? For his sons had seen what way the man of God went, which came from Judah. That's over and over, from Judah, from Judah. And he said unto his sons, saddle me the ass. So that they saddled him the ass, and he rode thereon, and he went after the man of God and found him, verse 14, sitting under an oak. And he said unto him, art thou the man of God that camest from Judah? And he said, I am. Now, question. What are you doing sitting under an oak in Israel, the northern kingdom, whenever God told you to get back where you came from? The old man is not in favor of what Jeroboam is doing. He does not endorse it with his presence. His kids go. It was up there. Now I see John Reynolds up there. To the praise and glory of our God, right? That's the theme. To the praise and glory of our God. You're going to have to finish. You're going to have to finish. I do not know. Perhaps this man of God out of Judah is thinking, man, I left home. I've traveled all day. I haven't had a drink of water. I haven't had a bite to eat. I'm tired. I've done what God said do. I've healed a man who hates me. I've refused his gifts. I've given God's message. I've done all that God had for me to do. I finished it. No, hadn't finished. He's not finished yet. You see, as important as giving the message is, for this young man, or this man, the man of God out of Judah, as important as giving the message is, it is also important to get back to where God said for you to be. Don't stop till you get it done. Don't stop till you get the thing finished. A job's not over, a job's not done until it's reported on. Finish the job to the praise and glory of God. Now, everything he's done through 10 verses praises and glorifies God. Now, when the boys come home from church, idol worshiping church, they're worshiping, but it's idol worship. Whenever they get home, they tell their dad about what happened. Wow, you should have seen it, man. Boy, I bet a whoop-de-doo. I mean, the king was there, and man, he had this image put up, and boy, they were going to offer sacrifice, and they were doing all this stuff. And this prophet comes up, prophet out of Judah. Can you imagine? He came out of Judah up into Israel, and there he is, and he cries against the altar, and the king, he says, oh, and the old prophet says, oh, my heart beats like his heart. Oh, I'd like to have some fellowship. Man, I miss it. I miss that fellowship. And he goes after the fella, and he finds him. Now, he should never have caught him. The old prophet would never have caught up with him if he hadn't stopped. But he stopped. He stopped on the way home. And the prophet finds him and says, you the man of God that was up at Bethel, that preached against the altar? 10:45, preacher? 10:45, okay. He said, I'm that one. He said, oh man, am I glad to hear that somebody's up there preaching against that kind of stuff they got going on up there. Man, I'm glad to hear that. Come on back to the house with me. Let's have some fellowship. Let's have some fellowship. Man, we'll have a bite to eat, and we'll have something to drink and just enjoy being together, and we'll have a good... He said, I can't do that. I said, what do you mean you can't do that? He said, no, God told me to get home. But he stopped. And you know what the old prophet said to him? You'll read it, you've read it. He said, I'm a prophet. I'm a preacher. I'm a preacher. And we're alike. And God spoke to me and told me to come and have you come back to the house with me, and we'll have good fellowship together, and we'll rejoice in the Lord to the glory and praise of God. And he said, really? He said, yeah, come on. So they go back to the house. He went back to the house, and he did exactly what he knew God had told him not to do. Though we or an angel from heaven preach any other gospel unto you than that which you have received, let him be accursed. Oh, but he's a good man. He's a preacher. Just like I. If it's another gospel, don't accept a contradiction to the Word of God. Don't accept that. But he wanted to hear it. He wanted fellowship too, just like the old preacher did. So they're going to get together. And they go back to the house. Oh, come in and say, man, it's so good to have you. I just can't tell you how glad I am. My boys came back from that church service they had up there. It was an awful thing. They told me about it. Now, they were pretty impressed with it. But I'll tell you right now, it was just not of God. It was just a devil and a devil's thing. They said, I know, I was up there. You know, God sent me up there. I preached against that thing. I preached against that altar. That altar just, boom, just busted open. And the ashes out and the king's out. Man, I tell you what, God was working. It was, and they're just enjoying it. And all of a sudden, the old prophet, the one who issued the invitation to come back, God speaks through him to the man of God out of Judah. And he says to him, you're not ever going to make it home. You have violated what God told you to do. And he's the one that encouraged him to do it. And out of the mouth of the one who invited him back, now comes his condemnation for coming back. You say, well, that don't seem right. May not, but that's the way it is. Out of the same mouth and from the same one. It's amazing sometimes somebody will tempt you to do something and then condemn you for doing it. And that's exactly what happened there. He said, you're not going to make it home. You will not be buried with your fathers. He said, well, I guess I'll get on, give it a try, start. And he gets on the donkey, and he takes off, and he goes down the road, and pretty soon some people come back to town. And they said, strangest thing you ever saw in your life. There was a lion standing down at the road, down the road, a lion standing there, and there was a dead man that the lion had killed, and a donkey, and they're just all, they're in the road. They're just there in the road. The donkey's not running. The lion's not attacking the donkey. The man is dead, and the lion isn't eating him. They're just standing there. It's the weirdest thing you ever saw in your life. And the old prophet heard it. He said, it's the man of God. That's the man of God. And he told his boys, get the donkey again. Bring him out here. He gets on the donkey, goes down there. And he loads the man of God up on his donkey that's standing there. And he takes him back and buries him there in Israel, where he preached against the altar. Man, I wish it ended at verse 10. The thrill of victory. Oh, altar, altar. A child will be born, Josiah by name. He'll burn men's bones on you. And this shall be a sign. The altar will rend, and the ashes will fall out. Take him! Get him! Pray for me. He's healed. But he stops. He stops. Don't quit. Don't quit till you get the job done. And the job's not done till you get home. Get home. And this man, rather than being the prime example, for whatever reason, God chooses not to name him. But the whole 34 verses of the chapter are given to his story. And God doesn't name him. Never gives his name. Of course, he doesn't give the old prophet's name either. He gives Jeroboam's name, and then the one he prophesied, Josiah, he gives his name. Dearly beloved, enjoy the thrill of victory. God has that for us. The victory is ours through the Lord Jesus Christ. But don't stop. Don't stop until the job is finished, until it's completed, until it's done. He went from the glory of victory to dying out of the will of God, all within a space of probably 4 or 5 hours. Just, we'd call it a flash in the pan. Not sure all that means, but I think it communicates something. It's just, poof. Don't just be a poof. Be steady. Be consistent. Don't stop and don't quit, to the praise and glory of God. Thank you so much. Make this a great week. I hope you'll be here. Make this Compass Conference a good time for the direction of your life. And get your compass set on true north, and follow it and keep on going.